Welcome into the Joy to the World podcast, the show that celebrates the good in humanity and highlights those who bring joy to their world. Now give it up for your host, Joy.
So I'm here with Bonnie Myers from the Community Hope Network Center. Well, not Network Center, Network. Okay, network. Which basically, I don't know who else knows, but I mean, we work with you, or the Rotary Club. And yes. I'm not wearing this because of Rotary today. It's just I was playing a softball game for a softball
shirt.
Yeah. But we started working with you a while back for the Buddy Bags.
Our Buddy Bags program.
But I'll get into that more later. I'll just let you take off with whatever you want to start educating me on.
Oh my gosh. Well, Joy, I don't know that I can teach you anything. Do you play guitar? I could have brought my guitar. Taught you a little guitar.
I'm not that talented.
No, well, I'm not that. Well, so then it would work out well because I'm not that good. Buddy Bags is our signature program. We started that as a mission outreach at the United Methodist Church in Crown Point, where I was employed as the director of missions and outreach. It was my responsibility to make sure all our visitors felt welcome, and we kept track of them and, tried to keep them coming back to church. And then missions, the Crown Point Methodist Church has always had a big heart for missions. We've done international and lots of national missions and local missions. I'd been introduced to Jeff Newton, who is now a retired United Methodist pastor. Used to be here in Lowell a number of years ago. A lot of people probably remember Jeff. He's a wonderful, wonderful man. He got reassigned to churches in Kokomo, where he's from, and one of his churches is across the street from a large low-income housing development, mostly African Americans. And he started several programs for that community and the wider community of Kokomo. And one of the programs was Buddy Bags, which really intrigued me and kind of lit a little fire inside me that, well, wait a minute, you're sending home food on the weekend with kids who are getting free food in school. They're getting free breakfast, free lunch. Who guarantees that they have enough to eat on the weekends and longer school breaks? There's no guarantee. If they need that extra food during the week, there's a good chance that they may be struggling with food insecurity on the weekends. And having grown up in Crown Point myself, poor, we weren't like dirt poor, but we struggled financially. My father usually worked 2 jobs. My mother was a stay-at-home mom. There were 6 of us. I'm number 4, so I always say there were too many. No. Sorry, Sue and Caroline, don't mean it. So I knew what it was like to not have enough money. We moved around a lot, and a lot of that had to do with not being able to pay rent. My oldest sister went to more than a dozen schools because we moved around.
Which had to be hard.
It had to be very hard. I went to at least 3 different grade schools, and I was fortunate. I'm a lot like my dad was. I'm very gregarious, and I could make friends easily. But I think it was harder on my 3 older siblings. They had more of those moves, and it was more difficult for them to always be the new kid on the block. My brother, who's the only boy of us 6, and blessed to be so because he's got 5 really good sisters. But he'll tell you I started working when I was 11 because I was hungry. And he did. He started working with the janitor at Jane Ball Elementary in Cedar Lake when he was 11 years old. And worked until he retired after 33 years at U.S. Steel. So he worked a very long time, worked very hard. And I probably was working by that age, babysitting probably for sure. And then by then we were in Crown Point, and we lived next door to the drapery shop. There on the shop, the storefront was on Main Street, and the shop was kind of between Main Street and East Street, and we lived there on East Street. And I would go in, and they had all these carts, and all the thread would get tangled up in the wheels. And I remember spending hours trying to get all that thread out of there. And they just gave me all sorts of odd jobs to do that. The dunkers, they were very nice. So I did that. My friend Becky and I, growing up, were ingenious, or desperate, I'm not sure which. At that time, there were still parking meters around the square, and the parking meters. I forgot
about parking meters.
There were. I think I might have even remembered hitches for your horses. I'm not sure if I dreamt that or saw it in a picture, but definitely had parking meters, and they were in grass. And if somebody dropped some change, they would be in the grass. They weren't going to go looking for it. Well, Becky and I looked for it, and we would go around, usually on the weekends, and we'd dig through the grass finding loose change. And yeah, Becky was one of 8, so it was in similar boats. We'd gather enough money to take the bus from Crown Point to the village in Gary. And it wasn't real exciting.
35th and Grant.
Yeah. My Aunt Betty, my mom's sister Betty, not to be confused with my dad's sister Betty.
Or Betty. Or with you.
Or Betty Osterly.
Yeah.
Who was it? We won't. We don't want to get into age. Betty, I love you. We had Aunt Betty and Uncle Bob, and Aunt Betty and Uncle Bob. And it gets worse. I would go into that. It's like a stand-up comedy routine, just naming everybody in my parents' generation. They had like 7 names to split between 15 children. We never knew where we were going. But Becky and I would take the bus to the village. We'd always put enough money for the bus ride home in our back pocket because we didn't want to get stuck anywhere. But we'd get a Vienna Red Hot, and we'd go say hi to my Aunt Betty, who worked at Penny's. And we didn't have any money left to shop, so then we'd get on the bus and go home. But, we did something. It was our little road trip. We also, she lived on Court Street. So in Crown Point, it's Court Street, Main Street, and then East Street. And we would, late in the afternoon, we would water her lawn, get it nice and wet. Then we'd go and water my lawn, get it nice and wet. And then go back to her house and get night crawlers. And we'd go back to my house and get night crawlers. And then we knew all the local fishermen, and we'd sell them night crawlers so they could go fishing.
And what would you do with this money?
We would go to the village.
Again.
Or there was Kentucky Fried Chicken, Colonel Wheeler's chicken, there on the corner of Main, and I'm not sure what that side street is. It goes back to St. Mary's. I don't remember the name of that. Anyway, that we'd frequent that a lot. Yeah, the Dairy Queen was too far to walk to. So yeah, that's that, and riding our bikes all over. Loved to go to the fairgrounds, of course. That was always such a beautiful place. Still is. It's a nice place. I hear it's a nice place to go walking, but that's a dangerous habit. That's, at my age, that's a dangerous habit. I probably could fall asleep walking. If you talk to people who know me, I fall asleep during conversations. Karen and I will play cards at night. I have been known to fall asleep
during that.
Yes, it's really embarrassing. I'll kind of wake myself up, and she's just going, "It's your turn." I digress. So, I guess my point is, I grew up hard, and then I got married and had kids, and times were really rough.
So is that why you wanted to get interested in this program?
I've always wanted to do something to help other people. My father was that kind of guy. He grew up really hard here in Lowell. He grew up with his grandparents and his great-grandfather, who was John Randall Taylor, one of the longest-living Civil War veterans in Lake County. Matter of fact, I have his Civil War saber, which I will be donating to the museum down there in Lowell as soon as I get all this other. We have some other paraphernalia that we want to get together and donate to the museum down there. But so he came up really, really hard. His father left his mother when she was pregnant with him. He had 4 older siblings who were old enough, they were already in school and whatnot, so they lived with Mom up in Hammond, and he grew up here in Lowell And my mother, I remember her telling me that about the only time he could eat meat was when he went to his friend Bill's house. They lived on a farm.
Oh, so they had some
Yeah.
meat put away.
Yeah, yeah. So he definitely grew up real hard. So he instilled in me a passion to help others. I think when you have that experience, it gives you empathy.
Yeah.
You know, and empathy is a very strong thing. If you don't act on it, it's kind of like it just boils up inside you.
Well, so do you think, what did you guys do first with the community help? Did you do the buddy bags first?
Yes, the buddy bags started at the Crown Point United Methodist Church as a mission outreach.
Okay.
I went to my missions committee, and they went, well, how much is it going to cost? I don't know. How many people are we going to serve? I don't know. How many schools are we going to be? I don't know. I said, well, what are we going to do? I said, we're going to try it. And I approached Pastor Mark Wilkins, who's pretty much game for anything. And he says, let's do it. Let's give it a try. So I reached out to the Crown Point School Corporation. They reached out to the schools. And MacArthur was the first one we heard from. September of 2017, we began the Buddy Bag program there at MacArthur with 139 students. And once a week, they would, at the end of the week, they would get a buddy bag with breakfast.
So everybody that doesn't know what a buddy bag is,
Oh,
just
that's
'cause
true. We're talking like
you and I know what they are because we do them. But what is a buddy bag?
A buddy bag has breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks for 2 days.
And they go home with the kids on
the last day of school, so they have that
on
food
Fridays
for the weekend. Right. Sometimes we get them to the schools on Thursdays.
Yeah. So basically, they go home with them over the weekend so that they
weekend.
have dried goods, or I shouldn't say dried
well,
goods, but like
non-perishables.
Non-perishable, like a macaroni and cheese they can warm up in the microwave, or a box of macaroni and cheese,
Yes.
or granola bars, stuff like that.
Exactly.
So they're
Instant
packed
oatmeal.
full of, and there is a list. And we will let everybody know about that list.
Yes. It's a very specific
Yes.
list that we utilize. And now, for the past couple of years, we've purchased all the food items that go in the buddy bags from the Northwest Indiana Food Bank.
Yeah, because it used to be, so back in the day.
Back in the day, we'd go to Aldi's and Rulers and Myers.
Yes, and we would have people donate them, drop them off. Like at my store, we dropped them off at Classy Cuts. We dropped them off everywhere.
Yes.
And we also did a thing with the Rotary Club. We did a bingo where
the purse bingo.
Oh
right?
my gosh! Remember?
My gosh.
You're never going to fill that trailer, and
you did. You did.
So basically, back in the day, what we did was had people bring the food items with the list and then have drop-off points.
Yes.
And so now you guys have become so good and so organized, and your outreach programs have become so well known, and you've done such a good job helping all these kids and helping all these schools that now you can just purchase them and distribute them more organized.
Yeah, more
now,
efficiently.
Instead of 139 kids at one school, how many schools and how many kids are you feeding?
We are now in all 4 school districts of the southern portion of Lake County, and it's about 23 schools. 3 of those schools are middle schools.
So 1 school to 23 schools.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's a lot.
From 2017 till now, just think about that.
Yeah. In 2020, and we had already grown so much that, we kind of outgrew the space that we had in the church and what one church could financially support, of course.
The space here now is huge.
The space now is huge, and yet we're running out of space. I'll explain that in a little bit. But the middle schoolers we handle a little different. We found that they don't like to take home a brown paper bag. I
understand that.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to be embarrassed.
True. And at that age, just looking at them cross-eyed embarrasses them. They're so sensitive at that age. So what we do is, and everything goes through the schools. We never know who the kids are. We just get a number of the children that we will serve. This will provide to the schools that number of $20 Strax cards, grocery cards, and they'll send them home, and that takes care of them for a month. So once a month they get a $20 card. And all the students qualify for free lunch, and our school contacts We'll survey the parents of those students to see that they want to participate in the program. And then, as I said, they just let us know the number that they need.
But you guys have to be so proud of how everybody's worked well together, how you guys have worked well with the schools, how the school corporations have worked well with you. And then, okay, so I'm going to skip around a little bit like a squirrel, but
I like squirrels, except the ones that keep eating the bird food.
They are sneaky little suckers, aren't they?
They're evil. But they're cute.
They are cute at the same time.
Yes, kind of like children.
And now, a quick word from this episode's sponsor.
Looking to update your floors with something fresh, durable, and beautiful? Look no further than Lowell Carpet and Coverings, your hometown flooring expert since 1996. Located right in the heart of downtown at 317 East Commercial Avenue in Lowell. Our family-owned and operated business has been helping neighbors just like you find perfect flooring for their families. Whether you're after plush carpet, stylish vinyl, or classic hardwood, we'll guide you every step of the way, from product education to expert installation. At Lowell Carpet and Coverings, your satisfaction is our satisfaction. That's our promise to the community for nearly 30 years. Stop in today and see why we're known for being stable, helpful, and proudly community involved. Lowell Carpet and Coverings, flooring done right by people who care.
Thank you for sponsoring the show. And now, let's get back into the episode.
But you guys went from like one day we were helping you with the food, the next day we were helping you with other stuff. So like tell me how you went from just doing the buddy bags to this big thing you got going on over there now.
All right. Well, in 2021, early, I think it was January that year, we started a household pantry. A lot of people don't realize that SNAP benefits only allow you to buy food. That's it. So if you need feminine supplies, deodorant, toothpaste, toothbrushes, those cleaning supplies, you cannot purchase.
I was so
it.
surprised about a lot of that.
Yeah.
Especially when you first sent me the list. I was like going, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're expensive.
Yeah, they are. They are. And, if you're, you've got, well, my gosh, there were 5 girls in my family. That's a lot of feminine products.
Yes, it is.
That's
they're
a lot.
not cheap.
And they're not cheap. No, they're.
And then you moved on to some coats.
Well, we've done coat drives in the past. We haven't done them every year, but the schools, all our schools know, whatever they need, if you have a student whether they need a coat or a new pair of shoes, just let us know.
We'll find the resources.
We'll get that for you. We'll make sure we can, find a resource.
And I have
that
seen
can get
some great donators that have gone.
Oh my gosh.
You've gone from let's say, a little Rotarian club like ours to some wonderful big.
Well, we have a partnership with Amazon that's totally unbelievable.
I just can't believe how far you. I mean, I can believe it, but just wow.
Yeah, we receive donations from Amazon, a huge amount of donations from Amazon. As of late, we get 10 pallets, and we've been getting them every 2 weeks. 10 pallets, there's 24 boxes, the big Amazon boxes on each pallet. So that's 240 boxes of you name it.
Well,
it's food, it's clothing.
But not only that, when you get all that in, the amount of volunteers that are organized, your people are super organized.
They're
it looks like they're biting at the bit just to get in there to unload all this stuff and organize it.
Absolutely.
Because nothing can be out of line. Like your stuff is so
you have to be organized with that
OCD
amount of things
about putting it in place.
Well, I'm going to mention Lindsay Fronapple, who may or may not have OCD, but she's very organized, and that's her baby. That household pantry and the Amazon donations, that's her baby, and she does an amazing job of organizing and planning and setting down procedures, which. Well, let's say it. I never did that. So, but she's really got things organized. Right now, it's pretty much organized chaos. We have a summer buddy bag program where every buddy bag student has gotten a punch card that allows them to come once a week for 8 weeks during summer break to come and get a provision of groceries. The groceries are all set up according to the My Plate provisions, so it's it's protein, fruit, vegetables, and so on. Ruth Argenta is our buddy bag coordinator. She is a registered dietitian, and she looks after all the dietary, caloric values, everything that goes in the buddy bags, and during the summer separates all the humongous amount of food items that get donated, mostly through Amazon, correctly into the categories they belong, and per child, she'll figure out how much they get in each category.
But I do see a lot of your local people, a lot of your restaurants, Tavern on Main, and restaurants in your area that do a ladle of
A ladle of love.
Yeah.
That's our bi-monthly free luncheon. It's open to everyone. We have folks from Lowell come. Pat Sutton's a regular visitor.
Oh, Pat Sutton. I love her.
Oh, we all love Pat
So
Sutton.
there's a lot of those restaurants. Is it just the restaurants?
Well, it's
or is it
full plate catering.
Okay. So maybe I'm using some wrong names, so you tell me which ones.
I'm gonna.
Okay.
Great Harvest Bread.
Oh,
bread company donates bread actually twice a week.
That's great.
To us, and it's such a blessing to our clients. Our clients are going to spend $11 on a loaf of bread, but they can come in and get this wonderful, wonderful breads that just knock your socks off.
I know. They make wonderful bread.
They do, and they're so nice. Katie there is just one of the sweetest people I know. So we're able to, usually most of that bread goes directly to our clients that come in for the household pantry, but then we can also use it as needed for the luncheon. Who else? Yeah, Tavern on Main.
Miranda.
Miranda and Honey, Chef Honey, Nick.
He's so cute.
Isn't he cute? Cute. Yeah, just saw him yesterday, and he's got the cutest little baby.
Yeah.
Last year, when Karen and I were visiting family in the Netherlands, they were still expecting, and we got a bib that's blue and white with Amsterdam buildings on it, and he just sent me a picture about a week ago of the baby with
the
that.
baby in it.
Oh
yeah.
my God, it's so cute.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
He can cook good.
Oh yes. It's a wonderful restaurant, a great atmosphere in there. But and then just yesterday we got some pasta with Alfredo sauce from Off Square Brewing.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So and we cooked out. We had so much food. I had made potato salad and brownies. Nick brought some brisket and a really, really good pasta salad that he'd thrown together. We had I would say at least 60 people as guests, and then a good dozen volunteers.
But I mean, all of your people amaze me, and it just amazes how well your community comes together for you guys. Well,
Yes.
not just yours. I mean, outside
Yes,
communities as well. But
kind of like wherever Community Help Network touches.
yes, but that's why you're called Community Help Network.
Yeah, we network pretty good.
Yes, you do.
We do, and our volunteers, I can't say enough about them. They are driven. We talked earlier about our packing line during Buddy Bag during the school year. I was telling Joey we have about 12 items that go in each bag, and we have 12 people putting them. Everybody wants to be a part of the packing, and you don't dare try to steal somebody's spot. It's like stealing somebody's church pew.
Yeah. But also too, I mean, like to watch their people grow, and to watch, like, you guys are doing those live videos when you're giving away like that wheel that you guys were spinning for a while. That was kind of fun.
We did that?
Yes, you did.
Oh, we did. That was
did.
That was Eden and Lindsay. They're very young, and they're younger than my children.
But it's super fun to watch kind of those things, keeping people interested.
Yeah. Well, and one of our big funding sources is our Century Apple, which fellow Rotarian Betty Osterby started.
Yeah.
She
Betty's so sweet.
Oh, and Betty said, "Go ahead, try to say no to Betty. Go ahead, I dare you." I've known Betty for many years. Her husband's family owned Tri Electronics, which is the company my father retired from. So I've known Betty for a long time. She's one of my dad's favorite people.
And they have a wonderful party for us every year.
Their property
Their
out
property's
there, Fox Run.
amazing.
Oh my gosh, we try to have meetings out there once in a while, and they try to convince me not to look out the window.
No.
I'm a birder. I'm like, oh my God,
It's
look,
so
that's an indigo
gorgeous.
bunting. Betty, you got an indigo bunting. Look at the indigo bunting.
Yeah, no, they're just amazing people because they share
are.
that with people, which is awesome.
They do. And Betty's actually our fundraising chair, and is doing a fabulous job, not just with the Century Apple Club, which is a perpetual thing, and people give every year at a certain amount, which is it's brought in nearly $100,000, which is phenomenal.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
But I mean, just being blessed to have you and Betty come to like our meetings and educate us on what you guys were doing. Because for us, we always thought, and this is just, a perception of what people think. And we had talked about this before, is that many of our perceptions for South Lake County is that nobody needs any help.
Yeah.
And that is so untrue because, as you had talked before, was that once you look into it and you go by the federal guidelines and you look into all this stuff, is that, the income is not high enough to feed all of the children, feed all the families. And so you did all the research, did all the hard work, and you looked into it and you found out that South Lake County was in need, and you found all this out. Thank goodness for that, all the research you guys did to help all these kids.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Well, the state education site, Department of Education website, gives figures on every school in the state. And so I can look up whether it's a school in Tri Creek or Lake Central, see how many kids are on free lunch, reduced lunch, and then I can give the percentage of those kids that are receiving buddy bags. And so you can see the need and how we're working to meet those needs. And study after study will show you what a difference it makes for a student to return to school Monday morning not hungry. Can you imagine sitting there, you're hungry, your stomach's grumbling, you're embarrassed because you think people are hearing that, and you're not going to be able to concentrate on your studies, you're not going to be able to sit still. So that we can alleviate that even in, say, 25% of the students in South County. Our goal is to get them all, but...
Well, I appreciate you looking after our communities, but is there anything else you want to add that we've forgotten?
Well, it's summer buddy bag season, and we are providing groceries for our buddy bag families. They can come in once a week to the warehouse, and this is the first year. Two things we're doing new this year. One, our middle schoolers have punch cards, so they can come in once a week for an 8-week period. Not only at our location, but at the Lowell United Methodist Church.
Yeah, so I heard.
Working there with Pastor Mark and Laura Eller. Hi, Laura. She asked me if she was going to be featured. So yes, you are.
Yes,
This is your feature. She's a dear. Her and Dan both. But we're excited and nervous about that. But I had our Lowell school contacts kind of survey their buddy bag participants, and would you utilize this location? And about 30 of them said, yeah, and that's a pretty good response, because when you ask people, you don't ever get a good response. So 30 was a good response.
Well, they're so well known, and they've had a dry pantry for years, correct?
Yes.
So,
yes.
So I mean, and I think that for everybody, as long as they're responding and it does well, then it will continue to do well.
Yes. I'm excited to offer location further south. We've got students in Shelby and Schneider and whatever else is down there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what else is down there. Not much.
Like we are, but I mean, but like I said, South Lake County is a little bit more difficult because everybody just assumes North Lake County gets everything. So it's nice that we're all loved in Lake County.
And it's not so much North County gets everything. It's just there's very little
Well, we're also spread out down here.
Yes, and there's the two main problems down here, or I should say challenges for people who are struggling financially.
Don't call me a problem.
Are transportation.
Yes, transportation is number one.
And of course, housing is nationwide that it's a problem. And as Lowell is growing in St. John and Cedar Lake, that's great. But then you have gentrification where you're kind of forcing out the people who can barely afford to live there now, and now their property values are going up, but they can't afford, or their rent is going up because property values are going up. They can't afford it anymore. Where do they go? What do they do?
Well, and, we try to help our neighbors and we try to help everybody, but having something like this in place really does help.
Yeah, it does. It does. And I would love to see it grow. There's plenty of more students we can help. The pantry has grown amazing. When we opened that in 21, we had maybe 30 families a month, and we've got about 130 families now.
Right.
So donations to the pantry are very welcome. We get a lot of what we need from the Amazon donations, like laundry detergent and dish soap and everything. The things that we consistently have to purchase are paper towels, toilet paper, deodorant.
So before we end this, I'll ask two more questions. So if somebody wants to donate, how do they do that? And if somebody beyond a child in school that you already know needs something, if somebody does need something, can they get it from you?
Just email us at communityhelpnetwork2020@gmail. Check out our Facebook page. You can message us there. You can call us at 219-805-3717. You can stop by. We're at 550 East Burrell Drive in Crown Point, across from the Crown Point High School, in the warehouse section by the red door. The pantry's open Tuesdays and Saturday mornings from 9 a.m. till noon. And if you forget any of that, just go to our Facebook page, and
it's all on there.
It's all on there, including... This is the fourth year in a row we are producing a play that will be held in the dining hall, and it's a dinner theater. I'll be cooking, and I have a little tiny part in the play. That is the weekend of July 11th, and then the following weekend, Friday and Saturday at 6:30 and 1 o'clock on those two Sundays. It's a play written by Marion Kellum, a local playwright, historian, and all-around nice guy. He taught art and theater at Crown Point High School for decades, and he's just a wonderful, wonderful man. And this play is called Frozen Stiff. It's about a body found by Binion's Landing in Cedar Lake, frozen. This takes place during the first seating of the Crown Point City Council. So they find this body, and all the bigwigs are at this meeting, the coroner and the sheriff and everything. So they decide to bring the body to the meeting. And so this dead body's wheeled in on a dolly and kind of goes through the play, getting wheeled from place to place. And it's lighthearted, and it's really fun, and there'll be plenty of really good food because I'm cooking.
Because you're good.
I'm cooking with Christy Erlotti's help from Full Plate Catering. She will supervise my cooking.
Well, I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you telling us and educating us on everything. But again, if there's anything you ever want to add, come on back so that we can keep telling your journey about how everything has gone so well over the
It's all about volunteers and just empathy and compassion, and heart for missions, and just
And what did you tell me before? It's not a handout.
It's not a handout. It's a hand up.
Yes,
our mission, our goal is to help make people self-reliant. Nobody wants to stay in poverty, and it's so hard to break that cycle. So hard. If somebody comes and they're behind in the rent, they're behind in their car payment, and they've got medical bills, by then it is so hard to lift them up. So we encourage people, help. If you need help now, get it.
Yep.
Don't be embarrassed.
I just love that saying. I'm not going to forget it.
Okay. Well, and I also say, never do nothing because you can only do a little. But
a little is how you get going.
That's it.
You can't take a leap.
If everybody does a little, that's a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Joy. I appreciate this opportunity.
All right. Well, I think that's a wrap.
Okay, that's a wrap. Bye, Laura Eller.
That's because you said you would tell her.
That's right. Am I featured?
I'm going to be on that show.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Joy to the World podcast. Be sure to follow us on Spotify and click that subscribe button on YouTube. Tune in next week to meet another person bringing joy to their world.